as well as we welcome in Frank Leboeuf. Craig, we're going to talk about Real Madrid a lot, obviously, and what's happened. But let's focus, shall we, on this tie over the two legs where Arsenal were superior in every way.
Every department, without a recognised striker. Mikel Merino's done a good job. We talked about the wide players being a big threat. Bukayo Saka coming back from injury and Martinelli. We talked about Real Madrid's weak points. There are many, but certainly two of them are the full-back areas, so they get exploited there. They got exploited in the middle of the park over the two legs, and that's another weak point for Real Madrid. And Arsenal, we know they're strong in there. Partey, who's going to be missing, you mentioned it. Declan Rice, who would walk into this Real Madrid side, by the way, and Martin Odegaard, who used to be at Madrid as a youngster and is now pulling the strings for Arsenal. The one downside was the Saliba mistake to the night. It didn't alter anything. I don't think David Raya, and this is modern football, you use your brains, you're 3-0 up or whatever, and you go 4-0, it's dead. I don't roll it out to the box. We just squeeze up, don't give them anything. Considering how Arsenal have played this season at times in the Premier League, they turned up big time in the quarter-final, and Real Madrid did not.
Yeah, and in both legs as well, because we talked about how if you want to take it to Real Madrid, now is the time to do it, and Arsenal did that despite all the noise and look at the welcome and the bus is getting and remontada talk. Arsenal didn't let that affect them at all.
No, they beat Real Madrid with two things that Real Madrid simply do not have and haven't had the whole season: structure and organization. Quality of play through all your lines, because up until the Saliba mistake today, you also have to say that defensively, Arsenal were excellent in denying opportunities to Mbappe, denying opportunities to Vinicius, denying opportunities to Bellingham, denying opportunities to Rodrigo. In fact, you would have to ask, were those guys even out on the field? And I think that's the credit of Arsenal in how good they were in terms of their organization and their structure. And then today they show something that I don't know whether we're too sure that Arsenal actually had coming into this round of games against Real Madrid, and that is personality, character. Yeah, we're going into Madrid, but they didn't just sit back. When there were opportunities to get out in transition, they did so. When there were opportunities to keep the ball, they tried to do so as well. It wasn't as if we're afraid of the history, we're afraid of the magic, we're going to take a step back. No. They took a step forward when they needed to. Very disciplined, very mature, very professional performance from Arsenal. I thought over the two legs, they were far superior to Real Madrid, but especially and particularly when it comes to organization and structure.
They've given Real Madrid a drubbing over two legs. And if we're being honest, but for Thibaut Courtois in two games, this could have been easily 7 or 8. Easily. And I think that tells you where Real Madrid are at this moment in time. And once again, he was there, as you were saying during the game, he was easily their best player again.
Before we get to Real Madrid, word on Arsenal, who in particular caught the eye for you over these two legs, Frank?
There is only one guy for me. I mean, we are all happy to see Saka's back, but Declan Rice was the man of the two legs. I mean, the work that he did today, how he worked, I love that guys. We used to call them water carriers player because you don't see them. They're in the shadow and they work for the others. But over the two legs, he showed his talent, his skills. We were scoring the 2 free kicks, but also today, handling the middle of the park like a masterpiece. He did everything perfect. Even Kylian Mbappe was upset with him, tried to get the ball, got injured. But he was there. He was also working with these partners, as a leader, saying, calm down. Was upset against Thomas Partey. That guy showed to the world that he's one of the best, as we called before, number 6 in the world, for sure.
Yeah, Declan Rice, of course, costs 100 million. It's not like that he came to Arsenal cheap. But in days like today, goodness me, you're getting your money's worth.
Well, I mean, his general all-round performance is usually very good. He had 2 free kicks that you're probably never going to score again in the first leg. But he's got a bit of everything, Declan Rice, hasn't he? I mean, he's not the greatest passer, but he can pass it. He works hard. He's a bit like Valverde in a sense, if he can cover all the ground, gets up and down, will score some goals, will get back and tackle. Just a dynamic, modern-day midfielder. And over the two legs, he was superb.
Well, I don't think it's an exaggeration to sit back and say, if you're Carlo Ancelotti or Real Madrid fan, it's like, I wish we had that guy playing in the midfield for us. because far better than Camavinga in the first leg, far better than Tchouaméni in the second leg, far better than any midfielder that Real Madrid showcased. And today Valverde was in the midfield. He was playing as a right back in the first leg. That didn't quite work out, but it's just too much space for him to cover. And Declan Rice would be ideal for Real Madrid because they lack athleticism and quality on the ball when it comes to that area of the field. They don't have enough numbers, and Declan Rice exposed that, along with Odegaard and Partey.
And they've come into this game, I mentioned it, without a recognised striker, with Bukayo Saka coming back off, 3 months? 4 months of a hamstring?
Makeshift back four.
With a makeshift back four, with Kivior coming in, who, was going to be the weak link, and he had a bad 10 minutes or so at the Emirates, but apart from that, he partnered William Saliba pretty well. And Arsenal have stepped up. They've stepped up and actually shown that, OK, they're in the semi-final, but they could win it.
Yeah.
I know they've never won this competition before, but they are if they believe in it, they are strong enough to win this competition.
Frank, we were sat here yesterday looking ahead to the game, and everyone thought, look, yeah, it's Real Madrid, they're going to put up a fight. They might not get enough goals, but we think they're going to beat Arsenal, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be tight on the night. What happened? There was nothing today.
Well, two things. I think Arsenal were stronger, simply stronger, and handled the craziness of Real Madrid at the beginning of the game, let's say. But they knew, and Ali alluded it in the way that they knew exactly what to do because they were organized, they were structures, in contrary with Real Madrid. Real Madrid tried to put, some aggressiveness, and we saw Alaba getting a yellow card very quickly. Of course, Rudiger trying some tricks and everything. But there was nothing from Real Madrid in terms of thoughts, organization, and what we can do to overcome and try to beat Arsenal. There was, I think, in the second half, they had Real Madrid had a corner kick. Nobody came back. There were 8 strikers with 2 defenders, I think it was Valverde and Vasquez, but nobody came back in the middle of the park. They didn't care. They only wanted to score a goal like, games from a 10 years old team. That was insane. And that's what I saw. That I saw a team capable of doing something because you have a star who can do something different. The 4 magics, as we call them. But there is nothing structure like the Gunners had today, knowing that we are strong enough because we are a team. We play all together, we work together, we defend and attack together. That was the main difference between the two teams.
We wondered if we were going to get this Galactico 20 minutes, half an hour, all guns blazing. And if we're being honest, they were hopeless.
But everyone was.
Yeah,
Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham.
But I'm looking, that's the big stars I'm looking at. Bellingham, charging around, frustrated, bashing people, being clumsy in challenges but not doing anything. Vinicius Junior, mumping on about Ballon d'Ors and so forth, and his mate Rodrigo crying because his mate never won it. And then you've got the guy who's had a disgraceful week, Kylian Mbappe, with that challenge. And he was useless. He was, he made absolutely no difference whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. They got nothing from the big stars. Up until the mistake from William Saliba, it was one of the easiest nights, really, if we're being honest, that David Raya has had. He may need to make a couple of soft saves. But he wasn't papered. And quite frankly, this era of...
You said it was interesting, like, I think it was 20 minutes ago, you said, has anyone told Real Madrid they're 3 down? What
because
happened?
It was Arsenal that was pushing.
Where is that spark? Where is that drive that we associate with this team in the Champions League?
I think it's got to a stage they're all looking around at each other and saying, who's going to do it?
Right.
They're not doing it as a unit. They're not squeezing and then the midfield goes and then the forwards push. They're doing it as individuals and they're all sort of looking around. Who's going to do it for us? Who's going to change the game? And is it a piece of brilliance? That's what it's been from Real Madrid. It's rarely been structured. It's been a piece of individual brilliance. And for that reason, because they're so off the cuff, that's when they lose the ball, you see so many gaps appearing in the middle of the park. And I know they lost Toni Kroos, and I know they lost, Karim Benzema before, and all this sort of thing. But they should be better than this. And you have to say, as much credit as he's had over the years, a lot of this falls on the shoulder of the manager.
Yeah, he's gone. I think no matter what happens now, Carlo Ancelotti will never manage the Champions League at Real Madrid again.
Well, and it's taken absolutely nothing away from Ancelotti, who's been amazing as a coach. But he's had the whole season to figure this out. It's been happening since match day one. Where was it? Las Palmas?
Mallorca.
Or Mallorca?
Yeah.
Mallorca, match day one, or whatever it was, we sat back and went, that wasn't very good. Next week will be better. It wasn't. Next week will be better. No, he's going to figure it out. He will figure this out because he's too good a manager. He has not figured it out. And we're seeing it in La Liga, still sort of hanging, but we definitely saw it again tonight.
And we've seen it against all the big teams. Barcelona, obviously, twice. We saw Atletico Madrid outplay them in the two legs in the round leading up to this. Liverpool won, Milan won. Whenever they're up against a team that have got some quality and are organised and are structured, Real Madrid don't have a clue.
The common thread of all these remontadas that we were talking about yesterday, that were on, I believe it was on Marca, and they had all this history of the times in which Real Madrid has been able to come back. Yeah, there is some magic there. Yeah, there is some mystical powers. Yeah, there is some history as well. But you know what there was as well? Quality. Quality of play. High level of performance. And we have been watching Real Madrid every single weekend, waiting and hoping to see that quality that on paper seems to be there, but on the field it has not been displayed with any sort of consistency. Why do I bring all of this up? You just mentioned, any time that they play against a really good team, or a team that's organized, or a team that's structured, or a team that has talent that can match the qualities of Real Madrid, they get destroyed. And it's not even as if these matches are close. All you have to do is watch when they play Barcelona this season. It hasn't been close. It wasn't close against Liverpool. It wasn't close against Arsenal. It hasn't been close because those teams can match some of the quality, yes, and they also have the added, I can't believe I'm saying the added factor, because you would imagine that a team like Real Madrid would have this structure, organization. They're broken. We said that last week, and it continues to be the case. They are broken and have been broken, and to the point of Carlo Ancelotti, at some point during this season, he made a decision. It must have been a decision with his coaching staff, his son. He must have made a decision and said, you know what? We're just going to let him play. And whatever happens, happens. And that is the worst mistake that he could have made, because this team was never a team.
I think there is a statement to make after having seen Paris Saint-Germain with Neymar, Messi and Mbappe not doing anything in the Champions League, no working together, no organization, no structure. We just wait for the stars to make the difference. And this season, with Bellingham, Rodrigo, Vinicius Junior and Mbappe, we see exactly the same thing. So the statement to make is, when you have a superstar, it's already complicated. When you have two, it's becoming impossible. And when you have three, it's even worse. That's what it is. That's really what it is in the modern world. I mean, you're comparing to Arsenal what we have seen, comparing to Inter Milan, how they work together, Paris Saint-Germain this season, comparing to last season, and also Liverpool. All those teams who work together because you don't have a mega star, who disturbs, in a way, the organization that you need to work and to be able to get something out of it. It's complicated. The world of football is complicated nowadays. We can see Manchester City, best team in the world, boom, bye-bye, in one season, in 6 months. Same thing for Real Madrid. There are things are changing right nowadays, and you have to make sure you are able to cope with the situation. Neither Guardiola nor Ancelotti were able to cope with the situation. We are talking about the two best coaches in the world. Coaches.
I just want to move on to Kylian Mbappe. How has his arrival made this team worse? Because it has. That's without question now.
Because the relationship between Vinicius and Rodrigo has been splintered. The space that Bellingham had to drive into is not there anymore. And dare I say it, Mbappe's arrival shunted some of the players into different positions. To start with, like Bellingham was playing in the left side of a midfield four on the right side. He wasn't playing in that number 10 role behind a Vinicius and a Rodrigo that worked really well last year. They played sort of a bit narrow as two strikers. You know, they weren't playing together, they weren't playing wide, they were playing these little pockets that were difficult for defenders to mark, and when defenders would step out, there was Bellingham hitting that gap. There's been none of that. He's been poor. He's made Real Madrid worse. He's made it all about him. We've talked about him regularly, but what he did at the weekend has been well documented. We've all had our thoughts on it. But could you put that behind? Could you put that behind him for a few days and put on a performance, and drag this Real Madrid side to something special? And the answer was a clear no. I've really had a bee in my bonnet about this guy since he started mucking Real Madrid around a couple of years ago. I just got a bad feeling, a bad smell about it. And Real Madrid pursued him. And currently, as we speak, it is more difficult to fit this Real Madrid team into a proper team with him in it. And that's been a huge problem. Ancelotti will never say that. But that's been a huge problem, I think, for Carlo Ancelotti every week.
I just want to remind people of the starting 11 for the Champions League final that we saw against Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, Real Madrid winning that tie. In theory, with Kylian Mbappe in the team, it should make it better. But there isn't that... Obviously, Toni Kroos has left. But really, you look at that, there isn't too many other big losses apart from Dani Carvajal at right back.
And I must say, while Toni Kroos was a tremendous player for Real Madrid and had a really good season last year for Real Madrid, we were also having conversations at times in which we were saying, well, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric cannot play together anymore in a big game. So a lot of people have been hanging on to Toni Kroos and his absence, saying, well, that's what's wrong with Real Madrid. That's only part of the conversation, and it's actually a convenient explanation. When it comes to Kylian Mbappe, there are a couple of things that are obvious to me. He doesn't want to play in the center striker position. Why? It's obvious because of his movement or lack thereof in that center striker position. And as a forward, I can tell you, a lot of his movements make no sense. A lot of his movements are not about finding positions inside the 18-yard box. Watch his movement away from the ball when somebody's about to cross the ball. More times than not, he gets into a position sort of like trailing the play in the top of the 18-yard box instead of having that instinct of, I got to be there, in front of goal. That's where I live and die. He didn't do it and hasn't done it. So what is his natural position, quote unquote, where Vini is? Well, is he going to play in place of Vini? Then what do you do with Vini? And while all that conversation is going on, Vini's saying, I'm the Ballon d'Or winner. Yeah. I'm the guy. And so you have a guy that doesn't want to play down the middle, that wants to play down the left. Vini thinks he's a Ballon d'Or winner, and neither one of them are having a great season. And on top of all that, then you have the other guy, Rodrigo, who's saying, well, what do I do? Yeah. If he's going to play and he's going to play, then where do I play? I have to go over there? Yeah. And now Bellingham, who was scoring goals, supporting from behind, now his spaces, as Craig alluded to it, they're occupied by Kylian Mbappe. And so he's not getting his goals, and he's not tracking back either. Never mind Toni Kroos. You look at the effect of the presence of Kylian Mbappe and how it changes everybody else's role, and it actually affects you all the way back to the midfield. And to be fair to Carlo Ancelotti, you add the injuries of Carvajal, that doesn't help. The injury of Militao, that doesn't help. The injuries that they have had over the course of the season. But I'm not going to make that an excuse, because this is a manager who we have talked about in a very positive way, because in years past, he's been able to figure out the lack of players because of injuries and the absences. He was able to do it. He was not able to do it this season with the presence of Kylian Mbappe.
There's only one game this season from the off. It's not Borussia. No, it's not.
Oh, OK. I thought we were going back to Dortmund.
No. Man City at the Etihad. When Real Madrid in the first 20 minutes pressed like hell.
Yep.
And I'm including Mbappe and Vinicius, and it was like, they came out and they were like, bang. So they can do it. They can do it. They don't want to do it. But when you've got a midfield as powerful as they had today, they should have been able to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal. Tchouaméni, Valverde, Bellingham. That's strong. But how easy was it for Partey and Rice and Odegaard to get on the ball? It's structure. There's just no... The powerful players, they're all big and they're fit and they can run and they can tackle in the midfield. But they couldn't do it today. Never got close.
And sorry, Craig. I also say that if indeed, to the point about pressing, how many times we see Vinny Jr. walking, and we see Mbappe walking, and we see Rodrigo walking. How are you going to press if these guys are going to walk?
Yeah.
And if you're a manager and you're asking them to do something, but the reaction is to walk, because I have to imagine, Carlo Ancelotti, I have to imagine, have gone after Vinicius and Mbappe and Rodrigo and say, look, if we're going to play this way, you guys have to be able to defend and help us out, and you're going to have to press the ball together. And we're going to have to make it difficult for other teams so that they don't find those outlets that Greg is talking about so easily. Walking. And it's been walking in big games, in small games,
Real
in tiny games.
Ancelotti was going to take Vinny off.
It's walking. Walking doesn't help anybody.
That was the game where he told him...
Yes.
He basically said to him, are you going to run?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to do something? You're going to run, at least run.
Yeah.
I can't help it if you make a mistake or you hit a bad cross. But the least you can do is run. And to Ali's point, last year, they had one player, maybe two, that didn't work hard. Vinicius and Rodrigo. Maybe Rodrigo did a bit more. But you say you had one player, 1.5. This year, you got 2 or 3 who are not working, who are not chasing, who are not pressing. And that's put too much of a strain onto the others.
Come on, Frank.
Yeah, the thing is I don't like about Ancelotti, I didn't like, because I'm really an admirer of his work. But if you're Ancelotti, you have the free will of deciding if whatever you want in front of anybody. Because you are Carlo Ancelotti, you want so many things, and you are the top of the top. Put them on the bench. If they don't want to run, put them on the bench. Be straightforward with them. Say, I don't like your attitude. As long as you won't run, you won't play. And I don't want one player not running for the other team. And Vinicius Jr. was already too much last season. Now you have 2 or even 3 with Rodrigo who don't want to run. Put them on the bench. Put people who want to work for the team. You are Carlo Ancelotti. You're not, somebody randomly who comes on the bench for Real Madrid. You have no power. You have all the power that you need. I don't want to listen to the fact that the board, maybe in Real Madrid, say, no, Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, they have to play. No, I'm Carlo Ancelotti. I decide who plays. And I'm sorry, he didn't do that. And I'm disappointed about that. I don't have the explanation why he didn't have the free hand to decide who should have played instead of some people who always played because they had names.
Because these guys are game changers.
That's the thing.
They're supposed to be.
That's the thing. 21 kilometres over the 2 legs. Arsenal ran more than Real Madrid.
So it was 12 in the first.
Yeah, 8.5 tonight.
At home, in front of your own fans.
Crazy.
In a game that you have to chase. You have to win. You've got to win your tackles. You've got to win your duels. You've got to win your battles. You outfight them, you outrun them. You can't outscore them, but you can do the rest.
Yeah.
That sums it up. Just a lack of desire to go and do the basics of this game.
So, Real Madrid out of the Champions League, which means the semi-final is set between Arsenal and PSG. PSG go into the tie as favourites. Obviously, Frank, we've got a lot of time to look ahead to this game, but initial thoughts on it?
Well, I don't know if they are the favourite, Paris Saint-Germain. I'm not sure about that, I mean,
They are the favourites,
We saw
Frank.
the game yesterday against... Yeah, they are the favourite for the bookers, but I saw the game yesterday, they played against Aston Villa, and I'm sorry. If I compare with Arsenal today, we were almost sure to go through. They did the job. Yeah, when they scored the 4th goal, they got a little bit sloppy. I think Raya should have said to Saliba, be careful, man on, whatever. But it took them only 2 minutes to settle down and go back to their best. They never felt weak. Where Paris Saint-Germain, I don't know, we don't know. There's going to be another game. I think the first game at the Emirates is going to be crucial for the Gunners, but also for Paris Saint-Germain. But really, that's possible for anybody to win that game. That's going to be very interesting because those two teams, they like to go forward. And if Arsenal plays the way they played the 2 legs against Real Madrid, against the Paris Saint-Germain who plays the 2 legs against Liverpool, that's going to be the game of the century, I tell you.
Wow.
I take the Paris Saint-Germain front line over Real Madrid's.
Oh, goodness me, definitely.
by a stretch at the moment.
Yes.
So that's going to be a different beast for Arsenal to deal with when you look at what PSG have in their front line. So, but it's definitely a 50-50 game, this.
Who have you got?
Well, it's 50-50.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I think it's a very tight call. I know Real Madrid have not been great, but that was impressive from Arsenal over 2 legs. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because PSG, the way they play...
it's a good one. It's good for us.
No, it's a good call. PSG.
League One. League One, Craig. League One.
Yeah, now just say Arsenal to spite it.
PSG.
PSG. Arsenal did beat them, of course, back in October. That's back in October, by the way. 2-0, obviously, PSG have advanced.
While it may not be the game of the century, as Frank is alluding to, I would say that it should be fun.
Yeah, it should.
It should be fun because the matchup, when you see the strength of both teams and you're thinking about that matchup of, say, Declan Rice, Vitinha, in the midfield, Fabian Ruiz, Martin Odegaard, it makes you think, okay, there is something here, plus the attacking talent on the outside from both teams as well. I'm going to say 51-49 PSG.
Whoa, there you go.
All those games.
Second?
Do we know when those games are?
Yeah, coming up.
That was October over there.
When they on 28th? Late April, early May. Oh, there we go. All right.
29th. 29 and 6. 29 and 6.
Inter advance to face Barcelona in the next round. For more on this, Jan Arger Fjordhoff joins us. Jan, for those who are maybe focusing on the Real Madrid game, how was this?
It was like expected, I would say, over the 2 games. Even when Bayern will play with their best defense, I would have doubted their chances against Inter. And now that they had all these injuries, then we saw where the mistakes came from. I saw just a quote from Harry Kane saying after the game, how can we concede on 2 set pieces? And it was a bit sad to see them defending. I mean, this is a German team. This is a German team that should defend on those kind of things. But we talked about it this season with Bayern Munich. When you have those kind of small margins on the top, when we see them playing the top games, you have to have quality all over the line. You know you have quality in Harry Kane. You know you have quality in Musiala. You know you had a good balance in the midfield this season with Goretzka taking steps. But that defense of Bayern, well, then you get those kind of goals. And well, you could say that maybe there was a handball, but it was poor defending also by Kimmich. And they were just like, I see the German media now, they're talking about the 3 horror minutes. And that was horror minutes, not only on the set pieces, then Pavard coming back to haunt them, played for Bayern. Of course, there could be a fantastic story if Müller got that equalizer or the decisive goal there at the end as well. But it's also a bit sad. Imagine Thomas Müller has always been around. This is his last Champions League game. Well, you will guess that he won't go to another Champions League team after his tenure now at Bayern. So I would say over the two legs, that was deserved of Inter. And this is a big loss for Bayern. Not just that they're playing the Champions League at home, but there are a lot of things going on at Bayern at the moment. And yes, they will be happy to regain the Bundesliga trophy. But a standard of Bayern, that's not good enough.
How can Harry Kane be saying about, how can we be losing goals from set pieces? Because you can. How can he be missing chances? Because you can. So, there's no point pointing the fingers at other people when you scored tonight, but you missed some big chances in the first game. So there's a little bit of a cheap shot, I think, maybe at 1 or 2 of his teammates who maybe he feels clearly didn't do their job defensively. But these things can happen. He didn't, and his teammates did not take the chances at the other end of the field. And I think the end result was kind of what we thought it may be. We thought maybe Inter would defend a bit better tonight. Bayern had the bulk of the play. But ultimately, I think the strongest team has gone through.
This sounds stupid. I'm going to try and phrase it in not a stupid way, but I don't know if I can. They were always going to concede goals, Bayern, because what would happen at the back? The key to this was Bayern scoring more.
Yes, and I think to the point of Harry Kane and what he has said following the match, I think from his perspective, and to your point, he would have expected to have given up goals in transition as they did to lose the match in Munich. Something like that. Something as they gave up the goal to Lautaro Martinez and to Fratesi. That sort of sequence, I think Harry Kane would be saying, yeah, we've been giving up those goals the whole season, so it wouldn't be a surprise. But if indeed we were going to advance, we certainly cannot give up goals from set pieces, and they did that as well. I slightly disagree with Jan's assessment in that Inter deserved this. I actually look at this from the perspective of Bayern Munich and say, they're going to be extremely disappointed with how they mismanaged moments over the two legs that kept them from winning a series that I think they believe they were better than Inter. They created more opportunities at home. They did not take advantage of those opportunities. They created more chances today. And I know that we expected Inter to defend. I expected Inter to defend a whole lot better than they did over the two legs. They gave up a bunch of opportunities to Bayern Munich. I thought Inter would be better and more solid and far more organized than they were today. They got in a back and forth with Bayern Munich that didn't make sense for them. So Inter did enough to get through. I think Bayern had a lot to do with that, in that they did not take advantage of the chances that they created. And they had to take advantage of those opportunities because, to your point, they knew they were going to give up goals.
Bayern were never going to bank on their defence to get them through. So it had to be the other areas because they know that's the weak point. It's been the weak point for quite some time. So they were never banking on a defensive game getting them through. They were banking on, Kane and Müller and Olise and all these coming up with the goals, which they did. I mean, they got a couple tonight, but they should have been more clinical at home in the Allianz, and they were not. And they have paid the ultimate penalty.
Jan?
Yeah, having said that, I understand where you come from. But having said that, Inter has nearly not conceded a goal at all in this Champions League, and Bayern scoring 3 goals against them now over 2 games. So. But there was always going down to their defense. I read and analyze the frustration for Harry Kane that he's seen this whole season. He's been desperate to get his title, and he will get one. But they've scored goals. They scored 3 goals. They scored 2 goals in San Siro. Still got away with some easy goals against, and that annoys him. And I guess that is a moment after the game. I mean, they score the goals, but they can't defend. And it's going to be interesting what the aftermath of is this all going to be at Bayern, because although they will, like I said, if they will win 1 title, but there's a lot of things going on there in terms of finance and everything, and it's been hidden about this hunt to be in that final in Munich. So it's going to be interesting to follow this story.
Who caught the eye for you in particular for Inter? You don't see a lot of Inter, Jan. Who impressed you?
Well, I'm always from Martinez, and I've said that from day one when we start talking about this game, because Martinez, first of all, his goal at Allianz, fantastic. I mean, the way he finished that goal. But I guess I was a bit expecting that, because when Martinez is playing against, well, you can say a defense that is not, if I say diplomatic, not one of the best in the Champions League, there was always for him to do that. And then you have to say Pavard getting that goal. You just feel that story of the game. But it's Martinez, because if a defense, I mean, you can play with Dyer, you can play with Kim, you can do as good as you can. But when you have those kind of strikers and Martinez, like back in Luis Suarez time, when he came on the pitch, the defenders were nervous, and you got that feeling all along. When he is around, they start panicking. Yes, they score on set pieces, but he's always making them feel uncomfortable out there. So my answer will always be Martinez.
So it will be Barcelona against Inter in the other semi-final. I imagine Barca are favourites going into that tie. But we also know how stubborn Inter can be. Yep, 13-10, Barca 17-10 on. Obviously, Barca take it up a notch when it comes to the quality of play that Bayern have, Jan. Do they have enough quality to shut out this Inter side?
Well, you get that feeling if they play 10 games against each other. I think that Barcelona would win it. You got that feeling. But, from one game, yes, we never know what kind of Barcelona team will come out.
2 games, Jan.
Yeah,
It's not final.
I tried to make a point here, Dan, and then you took me out of it. But
the point wasn't quite valid.
No, exactly, and you did as a host should do, helping me out. But,
Thank you very much.
But what I'm saying is that Barcelona is entweder order. It's if you can get that team that playing with that high line and they won't be vulnerable, but you got a feeling that Inter will have enough, the structure, the organization, the brain of Inzaghi to kind of find a way through that. I'm just saying that over 10 games, when Barcelona is on fire, you will see them through. But I've already said I said this weeks ago. I said that Inter will win the Champions League, so I have to stick with that.
Have you got going through, Craig?
Inter. You know, I've been going on about them.
Banging the drum, I believe, is the phrase you've been using of late.
Well, you look at some of the teams Bayern have played, Barca have played recently. They've lacked structure.
Yep.
Benfica, Dortmund in the Champions League.
Yes. Betis?
Yeah, I'm thinking Champions League.
Okay, sorry.
Whereas,
Just be quiet, sorry.
and even in the league, the last 2 games in the league, they haven't played, a couple of games they haven't played particularly well. Sorry, the last game and then the Champions League game. But those teams they played, they're kind of... Benfica want to go toe-to-toe. Dortmund, they're not the best organised. This Inter team are going to be the most organised team they have played in this competition. Now, it depends on the form of the front three of Barcelona, which, if we're being honest, in the last couple of games, has been left a little bit wanting, which has been a bit...
They did just beat Dortmund 4-0 last week.
Yeah, that's Dortmund.
Oh, I'm going to say, but you can't just say, well, you know, we're one.
Who was the league game? Was it Leganés?
Yeah, 1-0 against Leganés.
Yesterday against Dortmund.
Yesterday, you can't read much into yesterday, can you? They just turned up, they thought they'd already won it.
I think if we went back to yesterday's show, you said to me at the opening of the show, oh, the front four were horrible.
I say a lot of things. Doesn't mean I mean them or remember them.
And Ali talked about Rafinha just being a little bit off colour.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, if they are still like that,
yes,
and I'm not at the top of the game, then this Inter back 3 / back 5 will be very, very difficult to break down. And for those reasons, and for the structure that Inter have got, Barca will outplay them. They will outplay them with the ball, but I think Inter over the 2 legs will go through.
What's an interesting point, which obviously we brought up earlier on, is that this is just 3 days after the Copa del Rey final as well.
Yeah, this is not a good matchup for Barcelona. It's not. It's the one team of the teams that are remaining in this competition that Barcelona would have been, no, not them, because it's the one team that can really challenge some of the things that Barcelona does really well. And so, Lamine Yamal, it's not a matchup against Bensebaini, who he can run circles around. No, it's Di Marco, and if you get past Di Marco, Acerbi is waiting for you, or Bastoni is waiting for you, and these guys take all the pride in the world in saying, that kid is not getting past me, I will break him in half before he gets past me. That's how Inter defends. And Barcelona like the free-flowing stuff. This will not be free-flowing. However, I'm going to take Barcelona.
You're going to take Barcelona after all that?
After all that, I'm taking Barcelona because I think that Barcelona will score. If Bayern were able to score against Inter, Barcelona will score against Inter.
Newcastle with a 5-0 victory means that he sits 3rd in the table. They go above Forest. And they're looking good, aren't they, now for top 5?
Well, I thought I had you there. I thought I had 52 minutes.
Top 5 then. Newcastle favourites, Forest, Cities. Oh, we've got to talk about the top 5. Look, it's a Champions League day.
I tell you what, you have to give Newcastle a lot of credit.
Well, after the Carabao Cup win, you kind of thought, well, will there be a hangover?
They have been, and the manager is in the hospital with pneumonia, so he's not well. The assistant's taking the team. They're playing great football. They're flying. They're going to make the top 5. They're playing entertaining football, and they've just been so good to watch.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. Good for top 5, Newcastle.
Yes.
Yes.
What
Frank
Villa?
Quickly, shut up. Frank. No, not bad news for Chelsea. I don't know. Ask him that. We got other things to look forward to. Frank.
No. We don't want to talk about Chelsea. Yeah, Newcastle definitely in the top 5. Yeah.
There we go. Jan?
Bad news for Newcastle. No, great news for Newcastle. They've been fantastic as a Carabao Cup. And Chelsea, we can talk about probably later.
Yes.
A top 5 phobia going around this company.
Right, that is it. No, that's
Talk about the top
it's not-
5.
It's not at the end of the show, but a reminder, there is FA Cup semi-finals to come. Nottingham Forest taking on Manchester City. Forest in bad run at the moment.
Both of them
And
are
then
trying to get in the top 5.
Crystal Palace are conceding goals for fun against Aston Villa. Of course, who impressed so many yesterday, but they're out of the Champions League. Right. Europa League, here we go then. 4 games tomorrow, some interesting ones, of course, catch the eye. Eintracht Frankfurt, Spurs 1-1. Bodo Glimt 2-0 up against Lazio. Rangers go to Spain, 0-0 against Athletic Club, and it's Manchester United against Lyon. Let's kick off with that first, shall we? I was going to go to Frank. Oh, you want me to go to Jan? All right, then. No, that's fine. No, we'll do whatever you want. All right.
Having a conversation with yourself.
Manchester United, Lyon, Jan.
Oh, yeah, you took me on a former Frankfurt player talking about Manchester United. Yes.
I know, I don't know why.
Okay. Frank can do Frankfurt then because he played at Chelsea. But okay, Manchester United got to save their season. I think they will. I think they will come through in this round. I think they will take Lyon on. But I'm only saying that because I'm French.
There you are.
Lyon lose to this Manchester United side over the 2 legs.
Yes.
They need to have a damn good look at themselves in the mirror.
There you are.
Because this is a dastardly rotten United team, is it not?
It most definitely is.
How the hell can they potentially go all the way?
What's the talk in France about this, Frank?
Nobody cares. It's Europa League. You know?
Let's talk about the top 5.
That's it. Well done,
Top
Frank.
5.
Chelsea in the Conference League, Frank. Chelsea in the Conference League.
Oh well, why do you put suddenly Chelsea on the table? You know, we don't even care about Chelsea in the Conference League, and I'm the first to say it. No, but I think people think that Lyon has a big chance to win at Old Trafford because Manchester United have proven throughout this season and the season before that they can be very vulnerable at home. So everybody, people from Lyon, because the rest of France don't care. The people of Lyon believe that Manchester United can create a very big surprise.
Europa League is great. Europa League is great, Frank.
Have they two lost? Has he lost the plot? I think we all know what's going to happen potentially in the Frankfurt game.
We're not even on there yet. I'm just going to ask you about Onana quickly. He starts. That's the big talking point.
Is it?
Yes. In Lyon, that's all they're talking about. Onana.
Okay. Underreporting all of this is Jan speaking French. And
I don't think that was French. Was that just a noise?
I don't know.
I thought that was
think
just
it was
it's like when
version
the
of
kids
French.
speak French. It's like Joey speaking French.
Well,
That wasn't French. That wasn't French.
The backup keeper who
Had a shocker as well.
in the
Fine
shocker
there.
Yes.
at Tottenham.
Right.
So that's not good either way. So I don't know. If Lyon can't beat Man United, then they've got problems.
And let's continue this serious Europa League preview with Eintracht Frankfurt against Spurs. I imagine the hosts really fancy their chances against Spurs, which I suppose could be Ange Postecoglou's last game.
Talking to Frank or Jan, who played for Frankfurt.
Let's go to you, Jan. Let's mix it up.
I was there. I was watching the first game, and to be fair to Tottenham, they should have won that game. They hit the post on the bar a couple of 3 times. Frankfurt started fantastically with Ekitike doing the 1-0, but after that there was a lot Tottenham. But I think that at home and the form that they've had in a very important Europa League, Frank, they've been doing fantastically there. They beat Heidenheim on Sunday 3-0. They go in with a confidence, and I think they will have them slight favourite against Tottenham.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Craig and Ali are here. Lots of questions about the top 5. Frank and Jan join us. Frank and Jan join us as well. Jan,
Just a refusal, isn't there, really? Whenever a producer wants to talk about the top 5, everybody's like, no!
everyone's in their holiday homes today. Jan, where are you? Lillehammer.
Yes, not far from Lillehammer, the Olympic city from 1994. So I'm in my cottage, and that's why I have my camouflage T-shirt on today. But I've been cross-country skiing today, so I've been very fit today.
Oh, beautiful. Is cross-country skiing a bit like, you know, walking? When you see that in the Olympics, it seems a bit slow.
Absolutely. It's for old people like myself. Yeah.
He has to be walking, Dan. He has to be walking. That guy can't run anymore. We have seen him. We've seen him running against the fish. He can't run anymore, so he has to walk.
I will quote Johan Cruyff. If you have to sprint, you're too late. So I quote Johan Cruyff.
Some things just shouldn't be in the Olympics now, should they?
No. Well,
You know, a lot of these so-called sports, it's like they're just trying to appease certain factions, aren't they?
yes.
You know, like that
Cross-country is the original sport of Olympics. What are you talking about, you Scottish salmon?
The Olympics for me is about
I'm
track
with you.
and field.
I'm with you, Jan.
Thank you, Frank.
What?
Thank you. And you're
What are
a
you
world
talking
champion.
about?
Shut up,
What are
Bernie.
you talking about, you French muppet?
The cross-country ski, I mean, that's a real sport.
Exactly.
Don't talk nonsense.
Yeah. Scott, what are you doing?
Track and field.
Track and
Bit of
field. In the
swimming.
winter.
There
In
you
the
go.
winter. Okay.
Well, Olympics, track and field, 100 metres, 1500, bit of shot put, high jump, sod off the rest of yous.
To be
But
fair, it
that's
doesn't look so
summer
good.
and winter. You mixed it up. That's winter sport and summer sport.
I don't watch it. I don't watch the Olympics.
Craig doesn't want the
name is
Winter
Craig.
Olympics at all.
I don't watch the
Okay,
Olympics
yeah.
now. I'm not. And the Winter Olympics, oh my God.
100-meter track field in the winter. That's going to be an interesting exercise, Scottish man.
Winter Olympics, Summer Olympics.
In Lillehammer. In Lillehammer.
in Lillehammer, of course.
Meters in Lillehammer.
What's that one? What's the one that do that and they've got the gun and they got to shoot as well?
Yeah, skeet.
Oh my God.
Biathlon. Raphael Poiré. Ola Einar
What kind of
Bjørndal.
What kind of sports that?
Right, let's get back on track.
Bow and arrow. Bow and arrow. What kind of sports bow and arrow?
Do you know breakdancing is in the Olympics now?
It's bow and arrow.
See this
Craig,
thing?
how well did the Arsenal back line perform, especially with 50% second-choice players? Gabriel is injured and Lewis Skelly is an 18-year-old midfielder by trade playing as a left-back. Can they continue to be good against PSG in the semis?
Yes.
Everyone had it pretty much as a coin toss, didn't they?
Well,
PSG against Arsenal. Who have you got, PSG, Arsenal? Jan?
Arsenal. No, I'm very clear on that, but I think it's my heart. I want Martin to do well. I think it's a 50-50. Yeah, of course.
Martin, boo.
So what's wrong with you guys
You
tonight?
gotta call him Martin.
First of all, you have a go at cross-country skiing. Then you have a go at the Winter Olympics. Then you have a go at biathlon. And then you have a go at Martin Ødegaard. And that Scottish salmon who's sitting there on the table. He's just going on and on.
But you can't call him Martin, Jan. You call him Odegaard.
it's all
I
friendly.
call him
friendly,
Martin. I call him Martin as I call you Dan Byrne.
Oh, there we go. I'm a little short of the Dan
It's a
Burn.
bit like the pundits. I remember pundits in England, right?
Right,
Some of them.
right.
One thing, familiarity is not good
With any.
for punditry. Right? They were calling
Friendship as well is not good.
friends in general.
He's done a good job with that. He has done a good job with that.
Listen. You got. If you've got a friend that's playing, you got to treat them the same way as other players.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Stevie G. They were calling Stevie Gerrard Stevie G.
Right.
And all this. I'm like, driving me nuts.
Right, yes.
It's too
No,
familiar.
just on-
When you were criticising your uncle, did you call him Uncle George?
No.
But Burley,
When he was married
Burley.
in Scotland. What?
Burley, shouldn't I call Martin?
No.
I shouldn't. Erling, I shouldn't say Haaland.
Yeah.
Yes,
I should say
exactly.
Haaland.
There we
When
go.
we're talking about managers, we shouldn't say Jurgen and Pep and all that. It's like, anyway.
Okay.
That's just my
Okay, the
beef.
law.
And you can.
The law of Burley.
One of many. One of many.
Tell you what, get your skis and go and have a jog.
Jan,
Get
you
your
went in on-
salmon.
Yeah, and you weren't in our Real Madrid discussion, so I will go to you because it's the first time you had a chance to talk about it. Can Real Madrid afford to carry 2 or more players who don't put in a strong defensive shift?
No, I think Frank made a very good point in the show. I was listening in.
Wow.
He was talking about Ancelotti and Pep, and you somehow feel right now they not get out of their team what there is a shift right now. You have to run all the time, and I'm with you guys when you talked about that. I was also sitting there watching that game too, and I was counting players who were walking around. And that's just, that you can't have them on this, have that on this level. I mean, the margins are so small. And you saw yesterday PSG coming to Villa Park, that atmosphere, running, intensity, energy. You need that in every team now. You can't have a football star as you used to that is just walking around. That time is gone with the wind.
Wow. Frank, please tell me Trent will change his mind and stay at Liverpool after seeing this pathetic performance from Real Madrid.
I don't know. I can't talk for him, and I don't know what he's going to do. I think it's hard to say no to Real Madrid, even if we saw something, I would say, appalling today. In a way, you want to think that the future is going to be bright, and we can count on the board in Real Madrid to change some players somehow, and Real Madrid will go back next year with a better organization and structure. But I mean, when we see what we see with Real Madrid, we want to say to Trent, don't go there, because Trent is not good defensively as well, so it might be worse, you know, if you go there. So it can be tricky as well. You know, Stevie alluded it last time talking about Liverpool. He said if they win the title, it's nice, but they have to think about next season. If they finish the season the way they are ending it,
start with that.
they will have question marks. So no, but that's the truth. So what's going to happen to Liverpool if they carry on playing like the way they play right now?
They won the league,
So
it's fine.
It's a question mark.
Dan, just a quick point. It's which consequence will this game have for the manager next season? Because that will have some consequences.
Well, he's gone. He's gone, Jan.
Yeah,
That's it.
Okay. So let's say he's gone. The next consequence, Dan, Xabi Alonso will be the favorite. What does that mean for Florian Wirtz, who everybody think will either go to Bayern or to Manchester City? But we know if Xabi Alonso goes to Real Madrid, he could follow him. So it's a quite interesting thing that could be kind of a pre-decider tonight.
Yeah, that's good. Good point, Jan.
Thank you, Dan.
Merry-go-round.
Well done.
Craig, who wrote this? Why did we put this in? Craig, last season you said before everyone Timber is a top-class player. I'm sure other people had said that sometime.
I saw that and and
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness. Unfortunately...
too long as well.
the question. Unfortunately, he's done his ACL at the start of last season. How well is he playing this season? How difficult is it to come back from an injury like that physically and mentally?
I've never come back from an ACL, so I don't know. I've never had a few operations, but I think it's always difficult mentally at the start when you first put full pressure on injuries like that. But I think the medical rehabilitation and surgery these days is so advanced that players are coming back pretty easy. In terms of Timber himself, he's so strong. His legs, he's like tree trunks. He's not the tallest, but he's just such a powerful defensive unit. And he can play anywhere across the back four. And he's decent going forward. He's good going forward. He's not brilliant going forward, but he's a really, really strong defender. And of course, yeah, they did miss him all of last season. So they've needed to have him back this year because of the other injuries they've had. Calafiore, Gabriel, Ben White. So they've needed to have him back. But he's a starter. You know, Ben White or any of these others, they're not getting back in the team ahead of him.
Well, congratulations on discovering him. Well done, Craig.
You said it before.
Well, I
everyone.
don't remember saying that.
Well,
to be
you said
honest.
it before everyone.
I don't
Craig.
remember much to say.
Listen, I don't pick these.
All right, no, neither do I. I would not have picked that. Ali.
Because I'm getting praised?
Yeah, exactly.
You just hate me getting praised?
Well, even as he was getting praised, he still said, that's too long of a question.
Yeah, of course.
I like it.
Well, it is. Short and sharp.
Ali, do you think Bayern could have advanced past in today if they hadn't been dealing with such a significant list of injured players?
All right, defensively, they have been terrible over the course of the whole season. It's not just...
So Upamecano was missing, Davies was missing.
Yeah,
Was
and
there-
Musiala.
Right, but I think...
He's not defensive,
But-
that was the point I was
But he's a player.
No, but I was talking about the back. He mentioned the back line. I was talking about the players in case people didn't know who was missing from the back line.
The initial question was the injured player.
And then Ali talked about the back line
Yes,
being
and I
rubbish.
threw
And
in
then
Musiala
I
because
then
you forgot.
decided.
I'm
No,
sorry,
no,
but
you
I think
forgot.
Ali would like to say something.
Thank you,
I
Frank.
think
thank
Ali
you.
would like to say something.
They would have expected that they were going to give up goals even if Davies and Upamecano were playing. But they would have
Great
had
answer.
a better. They would have had a better opportunity to score more goals had Jamal Musiala been available.
obviously out
I
as
was
well.
going to get to Jamal Musiala. Eventually, things got out of
No,
control.
I know you were, but he'd forgot.
All right. Okay.
He's just angry because he had to apologise to me in the show
never-
today.
by the way,
that was a lovely
I
moment.
never apologise.
Yes, you did. You said, I'm sorry. You've said, I'm sorry. We heard it. It was recorded at 6:12.
It wasn't. It was 6:19.
So they would have had a better chance with Jamal Musiala because.
Would they have won?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Because they would have scored more goals. It's not as if they didn't create enough. Jamal Musiala, I think, makes them exponentially better in the attack.
Eric Dyer played a heck of a match tonight. Did that surprise you?
Eric Dyer did not play a heck of a match tonight.
Oh, no.
So the question is, did you watch,
Steve
or
Nichols.
did this person watch when he got turned in?
Well, Steve Nichols' personal assistant. He's got a lot
Well,
on.
there you go.
He's got a lot on.
He's got his hands full.
They're deeming a goal probably as.
Well, yes.
A goal in which he's trying to play the ball back into a dangerous
But the
area.
goal wasn't a
Happens to be
band-aid
goal.
for the rest of the performance.
But he get another year. He will
Well,
sign
he
for another year.
made a great save. He made a great
Yes,
save.
he did. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
You
did.
have, to be,
Frank.
you
Yes.
have to be fair.
Yes,
Yeah, there you are,
absolutely he
Frank.
did.
Yes, there you are.
So Frank, I would ask you, did you think he had a great match today?
No, I'm with you on that.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
He made a great save.
But I guess
tell you
Frank,
what,
Frank,
Jesus
Frank, I guess
You
on
two-
that corner they scored, didn't they? Doing.
What do you want, angry boy? What do you want? What do you want, angry boy?
Tell you what, three things have made me angry this
Right,
week.
final question.
Kylian Mbappe and this pair.
Jan, after beating Bayern, can Inter do the same to Barcelona? Who are your favourites?
Yes, they can. But there was done another point in the show as well when Bayern can score 3 goals against them. You got a feeling that Barcelona, with all their top attackers, can do the same. It's going to be a fantastic football game. Having said that, I think that Barcelona didn't want this draw. I don't think they wanted to play Inter. I will think they will rather play Arsenal. I would think they even would rather play PSG. I think Inter won't be good for them. That those two teams won't fit to each other.
Inter or Barca? Who's going through?
I
Frank?
don't agree with you. I'm going for Inter. I mean, they are too well structured. They know defensively how to work against any team. And Barcelona will face, for the first time, a team who knows how to defend and are very good, because they're Italian, to just get one chance they have with a fantastic, and Ian said it all, Lautaro Martinez will know exactly how to put the ball in the net. So I don't think Barcelona is the favorite. I go for Inter.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Is your cottage, Jan?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
We're going home.
We're there. The segue's there.
We're going home.
Move on and say goodbye. What are you doing? Asking more questions.
Quiet,
What's wrong
please,
with you?
Burley.
The 100-meter
Mr. Burley,
dash.
quiet,
The 100-meter
please.
dash. We're about
It's
to.
all right. Don't listen. It's not what everybody's got to say. It's not interesting. That is it. ESPN FC
Piping on a bit Inter.
returns tomorrow as we'll be looking back at Manchester United against Lille, Eintracht Frankfurt, Spurs, and what does Chelsea? What are their chances in the top 5?